Hello guys, this video is going to show you how to use our logic module. Now let me add this logic module to my project. Let's go to its basic setting page. We can see here are many options. Let's see what is the use of them. This is the date and time. We can set the date and time in here. And we can click this auto adjust button. Then the date and time will automatically change according to your computer's time and date. If you want the logic module to broadcast time to the system, you can enable the broadcast time function. This is to set the daylight time. But if in your region you don't use this time, then please always remember to disable this. In China, we don't use daylight time, so it's a must for us to disable it. Otherwise, the time will be incorrect after some period. And from here, we can set the geographical position. After setting latitude, longitude, and time zone, we can get the correct sunrise and the sunset time. Later, we can use this time as the condition. And if in your area you need to do pray, then just enable this. And here are some options for you. Now let's go to our logic setting page. Here we have the recover status function. And this enable device is to enable and disable the logic module. If you don't want the logic module to work, then you can just uncheck this box. Then the logic module will be disabled and cannot work. This function is to restore status when power on. It is normally used when you want the status to be restored after a power outage. Then you can enable this. In our logic module, we support 12 logic lists. In each list, we can create 20 logic tables like this. And now let me use an example to explain what is this logic table. So now let's open some example. For example, I want at 6 a.m. to turn on the first channel and second channel of the relay, and at 9 p.m. to turn off the first channel and second channel of the relay. I can use the logic table to realize this function. Now let me set it for you so you can know how to use that. Okay, let's create a logic table and then right-click it to input the condition. My condition is at 6 o'clock in the morning to turn on the first channel and second channel of the relay module. So I have to make a remark to remind you what this is for. 6 a.m. Lights on. The channel 1, 2, relay. And later I will explain what's this for. Now let me enable the condition. And because my condition is a time point, 6 a.m. I set and click setting. You can see now I have successfully set the conditions. And then I need to set the targets, actually the output. I can drag down to click this Add button to add the targets. Or I can right-click it and click Control Targets to enter the Adding Targets page. Clicking Add. And click first channel and second channel. And on. Click Save. Please always remember to click Save. If you cannot find the targets here when you set it, please wait some time, or you can click Read to refresh it. You can see now the targets appear. And let's set another. At 9 p.m. to turn off the first channel and second channel of relay. Click here to add a logic table. Right-click to input the condition. And the remark is, let me copy it. Okay, so it's 9 p.m. Lights off. The channel 1, 2, relay. And then enable the condition because we need to set time. Because it's 9 p.m. and click setting. And the same, let's add targets. To turn off, so select off and then clicking Save. So now we finished to set 2 logic tables, and I think you are now very clear about what's this logic table for. In this logic table, you can set the targets and the conditions to create some logic. And you can see here, actually AND, OR, non-AND is the logic relations. Let's go to take a look again. In one logic table, we can set 4 conditions. If we select the logic relation to be AND, meaning when the 4 conditions is, if you set 4 conditions, but in this example, just 1 condition, so pay attention. If you set 4 conditions or 2 conditions in a logic table, and you select the logic conditions relationship to be AND, meaning the 2 conditions must be met all together and then can trigger the targets. If you select OR, meaning when you set 1 or more targets, 1 or more conditions, when 1 condition is met, the targets will be triggered. So that's the use of the relationship But now, as I only have one condition, so it doesn't matter, I select or and or and. So that's the use of the logic table. Now, since we have set two logic tables, and let's take a look at if it can work. Because we set time as condition, but we no need to wait until 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. to check if the logic can work. We can go to the basic setting page to adjust the time manually and then test it. So now let me change the time. And click Save. You can see now the two lights are automatically turned on. Now let me change the time. So to turn it off, you can see, so that's the use of our logic. It's like an automation, so it can automatically turn on the lights, turn off the lights. This is just a simple example. So when the condition is met, the condition will turn red. Okay, now let me change the time back. Okay, after I clicking this, the time is automatically changed according to my computer time. And don't forget to click Save. So that's a simple function. Now let's right-click this table to see what kind of conditions we can set. We can set year, date, week, time, and the internal UV switch, external UV switch. I will explain this later, and also external temperature, light sync, light sequence, and so on. I think all of this is very easy for you to understand. But this UV switch, you may ask me, what is this? UV switch is a built-in virtual switch of a module. Logic module have it, and our sensors also have it, like our 7-in-1 sensor, 8-in-1 sensor. It's a not real switch, but we can use it as condition or targets. So if we set a UV switch as a condition, then we can use the panel to control the UV switch. When the UV switch on, and then can trigger some targets, and when off, can trigger some targets. The principle is the same. Now let me set an example for you. For example, you want to use one button of the push button panel to control curtain open and close. Then you can go to here. Let me use another logic list. For example, this is a UV switch 1. Then all the conditions in here will be UV switch. Okay, now let me create a logic table. And as I want to use one button to control curtain open and close, so I can use this UV switch as a condition. Okay, input condition, make a remark. And the output is curtain open. Now let me enable this condition and use internal UV switch. Internal UV switch here meaning the UV switch of logic module, and external UV switch means the UV switch of other modules, not from the logic module. So now let me use this and use UV switch number 1. And make a remark for like curtain open and close. And when it's on, and this repeat trigger, if you enable this, then the targets will be triggered every time when receive the commands. So in normal situation, we just enable this. So every time when I control the UV switch on, the targets will be triggered. Okay, now let's click setting. And then add the targets, curtain open. Okay, shutter, let me add on. And then click save. Okay, now let me create another table. Use the same UV switch as example as the condition. So, okay, in real situation, you have to make the remark. But now, in order to show you, so I skip this. Okay. Enable, and the condition is the same. Use UV switch 1. And now the status will be off. And enable this trigger targets every time. And click setting. Okay, it's set. And enter the targets. Shutter close. And clicking save. So from here you may be confused. How can I use one button to control curtain open and close? That's the use of the UV switch. So I can use the panel, for example, our DLP panel. I think you must be very familiar with this now. Let me add it to my project. And then I can use a button to control on and off of the UV switch, number 1. Then, if I use a button to control the on and off of the UV switch number 1, then every time when I push the button for the first time, the UV switch will be on and then curtain open, and then push the second time, the UV switch is off and then the curtain is closed. So that's the use of our UV switch. Okay, so now let me do this. Use page 1 and just use a single on and off. And then let me add the targets. Delete it. Oh, logic module 85. And UV switch number 1, add on. And then click save. Make a remark. Curtain open and close. Click save. So every time when I press the first button for the first time, the curtain will open and the second time will close. So that's the use of our logic UV switch. And all of other UV switch is the same. So you can use it as condition and targets. And for example, if you want to use one button to control two things, it's the same. You can use a UV switch. When on, then control another target. When off, control a target. Then it can realize that function. And this UV switch has a wonderful function if you know how to use it. For example, like you have 4 panels in a very big villa, and these 4 panels control the same thing. And this thing have a lot of targets. For example, let me create. You have 4 panels in a house. 4 panels control a same thing. Use the button to control the same. And then the thing targets include like lights, AC, curtain, dimmer, and so on. So they have many targets. And then if you use this UV switch, for example, let me use another UV switch. Let me create in here and drag down. And then I use it, input. Then, UV switch. Number 2. And this for scene 1. And on. And then add the targets. Let me add it and then explain. For example, my RGB stripe, add on, and my switching, add on, and also AC. So and the shading, everything. So and then click save. So meaning this scene 1 will have a great many targets. Then if these 4 panels all control the same thing, scene 1. If I have to make the configuration, meaning I have to set in this 4 panel by like scene 1. And then select combination on and add all these targets over and over again. But now, if I use this logic function, I use a UV switch. Then I just set the targets in here. Each panel, for example, I have 4 panels, right? I just need to set a single on. And then add the UV switch, just a scene 1, and add on. Then this 4 panel just needs to select the targets, one target. It's much easier, right? Then can make the configuration faster. If you don't use this UV switch, you just then you have to set all these targets over and over again, like you have to copy and paste over and over again. That's easy, but it will waste a lot of time. So you can use this UV switch. Then it will simplify the configuration, especially when you have like more panels and more things. The thing will control a great many targets. Then it will not only make the configuration faster, but also if you find there are some trouble, for example, this light stripe cannot work, and then you want to delete this, or you don't want this light stripe to be the targets. If you set all the targets in the 4 panel, then you have to change the targets in the 4 panel. But if you use our logic module, then you just need to go to this and then delete this light stripe and then click Save. All 4 panels targets will be changed automatically. You no need to change them one by one. You just need to go to the logic module to change it one more time. Okay, so that's how to use our UV switch and why we need to introduce this UV switch as condition. And guys, do you still remember I mentioned that one logic table can only hold up 20 targets. Then what if it has 40 targets? How can I use them? Then for example, let me use this as an example one more time. For example, at 6 o'clock, I want all the lights in my house to be on, and the lights is more than 20. Okay, now let me use this as an example. Right click, control targets, add. Then for example, I have more lights. Okay, it will tell me it can only control 20 targets, right? Then what if I have more targets? I have 40 targets. Then I can just create another table and no need to set targets, no need to set condition for it. Just right click to confirm the start point, and then right click it to confirm the end point. Link to table number 1, and then it will have the same condition at 6 o'clock, and then add another 20 targets. So I can go to here. Oh, for example, another 20 targets is from my lighting, okay, through here, and add on. You can see I can add another 20 targets. What if it's more than 40 targets? I have 60 targets. It's the same. Create another table, and then right click. Confirm start point, and then confirm end point. Link to table number 2, and add another 20 targets. Okay. So in meaning, when at 6 o'clock, it will trigger the 20 targets in table number 1, and then table number 3, and then table number 4. It will make a linkage. So that's how to make the logic module to control more targets. Okay, that's how to use our logic module. And if you want to learn more, please go to read our user manual.